Alright, so after those two tries of trying to paste the thing on, I decided, you know what, might not be a bad idea just to draw it out to scale on the thing. So I think this is looking pretty good. Alrighty, so those were two prior drawings of thinking the whole thing was going to be one solid sheet of aluminum. But ever since then, I've kind of figured, you know what, if I were to make this piece right here a separate piece from this, from the whole thing, this entire section here is going to be essentially made out of wood for carving out the handle. So I need to figure out something to do with this whole back piece here, but this is also going to be essentially made out of wood as well. And what I've got here is the magazine, part of the magazine. I think this was the front. Scope pieces, the two halves for the top piece of the magazine well, main pieces of the magazine well, and then I've got these two pieces for that part right there. Butt plates. Not exactly too sure what those two are, but essentially it's that piece up there, which it doesn't really seem to do too much. I thought that was initially part of the carrying handle, but it seems to be just like part of some kind of clamping device. I don't know. Designers these days for video games, who knows what the hell they're thinking. So double checking on across this, trying to figure out how the pattern is going to fit on top of this thing. I figure, you know what, whoops, that's upside down. You know what might be easier is if I took off the stock. So I took off the stock. But that also allows me to make it easier to make this entire section here, since that's just one flat bit there and I don't have to try to cover around that whole mess of a thing. Plus I can actually customize the shape of the actual stock. Plus, that pin is a dick to get out regularly. So I'm going to make the battery part of this area down here, hidden underneath all this. In fact, actually, what might be not a bad idea is if I were to grab the piece that goes on top of this, hollow that out, so that I can get the battery inside of this area over here. Plus, I don't have to worry about this hole anymore, since that was supposed to be for the stand. There's no more stand since there is no more stock. So I think we should be good, right? We should be good. The more and more I look at this thing, I don't think this cardboard box would do it. I mean, it's already missing the front flap there. I think I might have to build a box by the end of this thing. Alright, I guess I should probably clean up all of this before I continue working on that sniper rifle build, right? I mean, I could just pull up the table, go do it outside. Now I'll just clean this all up. There we go. Now it's in some working order. I can actually step around here. So the two pieces I did find were this piece of 2x6 and this piece of 2x4. Unfortunately, I can't use either one because I need two thicknesses of this. I actually need this to be about 3 inches thick for the handguard, and then I think I'm going to stick with the 1/2. I may have to bump that up, but essentially the barret's width is actually about 2.5 inches, something like that, which means I need to double up or something. Essentially, I'm gonna have to buy more wood. This is not enough. Time to grab the keys. always remember, you like your eyes and ears, you gotta keep them protected. This is not enough room. I need to reposition this thing. Why is the pressure washer in here? Okay, so I am currently in a little bit of a standstill right now. Whether or not to trust this bandsaw, which has a bad tendency for the blade to go from there to much like that. It's happened before. It's ruined a few pieces before. It's annoying me. So there's two ways I can do this. Either one, I cut these pieces individually and then try to glue them together and then try to sand them to match. Or I glue them together, screw it together, and then bring it over to my workplace, which has a better version of this bandsaw, so I can cut them both at the same time, and have them match, and be able to, you know what, screw it, I don't have enough time, I'm gonna have to just use this thing. Oh. I think this bottle of just Gorilla Glue is just expired. Alright, so if this ain't straight, I'm just gonna do it on the milling machine. Yeah, I think the milling machine is probably the best idea to do it with. I can always redraw this. This is not a problem. I mean, there's so much extra room to place this piece on it anywhere, so I am not that concerned. What's the most curious thing I have to figure out is, how am I going to plane this out here? Well, I suppose I could just take it back to the saw. I think I'm going to take it back to the circular saw. Yes, I am fully aware that there are probably much better solutions to this problem right now, but with the tools I got, I think this is probably the most precise I'm going to ever get out of all the tools I have currently. Plus, I love this thing. Sound on high? Yeah, that's right. aligned piece. Angle looks good. That angle also looks good. I need a square. I actually need, that's the one tool with this machine I don't actually have. I don't have a proper square, so I can make sure that everything is properly aligned this way to the table. I may have to look into that at some point. Right now I'm happy with this. Alright, so now I need to just get pieces for making that and for the rest of the stock over here. I'm going to have to dig through all my pots and see what I can. Alright, so all the way to the top, all the way down to the bottom, it still needs to be bigger! Okay, so one of the things I have to figure out right now is that I still need that 1 extra inch of wood in order to fill the stock. So I've got ourselves a 1x12 right here, which is around $11. I also got the 2x1, well, 1x4 over there, which is roughly about $5 there, and I've got 6 feet of that. Now, if I cut that into 3, I can get 2 feet piece. I can get 3 2-foot pieces long enough to stack, so I have 12 inches wide like that at 2 feet. But then I have a lot more material to work with other projects. But right now I'm kind of thinking that that might be the best idea, because I was initially looking at the 1x2 for some odd reason, and I was trying to figure out how to get it to work with that. I guess I'll go with that one. That is, of course, until I realize that the thickness of the rough cut is the one that's the 1 inch, and the finish cut they actually take off 1/8 of an inch on each side in order to have a nice smooth finish. Which is why it's also like somewhere between 1/2 to 1/4 inch difference between the two. So I've worked with this before. I can deal with it. Now, how I position this board is going to be very important, because I do not want this to get in the way of getting a consistent and smooth cut. Because these are not. These are actually a higher density than the rest of the board. Which a lot of people who have experience with wood will tell you are kind of dicks. And of course I do it on the wrong side. There's a little bit of a bow in this wood. I really need to get a friggin' putty knife or something. I should have been using this. I know everyone in this comment section is going to be screaming, "You should have used a friggin' putty knife, Red." Yeah, I heard. I was thinking the same thing, too. We're supposed to have multiple drills in this shop. But no, they just keep disappearing. I don't know where they've gone to. So now I have to do this all again. Erskabur. The problem with their shared workshop is that if the other person doesn't put away their tools, it creates a problem for both sides. Which I'm not quite excused from that myself. I will admit, I do sometimes forget to put away my own tools, but you know, the other side has to remember too. Okay. Well, that's actually drying pretty quick. Yeah. That's 2.5 inches. Perfect. And unfortunately, that's all I've got time for this week. If I can get more subscribers, I can do longer videos and yada yada yada. YouTube is all being kind of weird and crazy, and has always been kind of like really difficult for us YouTube starters. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit dragging along with trying to get to the actual cutting of materials, but at least we got in this video the foregrip and the stock. And next time, hopefully, we be able to get into carving out and all the other fancy stuff. I mean, this is still only hitting what 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of footage that of the 7.5 hours of footage, and yeah. Cutting that down into as short as possible without skipping anything important is rather difficult because, yeah. Well, keep subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that ring bell. So yeah, keep subscribed, hit that notification bell, so that next time when the next video comes out, you'll be able to see it right away. Only 2.5 hours of footage finished. Look at all that footage I have to go through.